Murphy's can rekey locks, and of course they can make keys. They cut glass for windows, plus Murphy's has monthly doorbuster specials. Check their Facebook page to see what's on sale. Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jesup. Jesup Premium Storage, 1455 South 1st Street is Jesup's best place to store your valuables. Whether it's furniture between moves or just a place for the overload, call Jesup Premium Storage at 530-8003. That's 530-8003. Jesup Premium Storage units are indoors, climate controlled, and they have 24-hour surveillance and on-site management. You have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week access to your unit. Sizes range from 5x5 to 10x25. They also have outside covered and uncovered spaces available for vehicles, boats, trailers, and RVs. Jesup Premium Storage on the Waycross Highway in Jesup.
Andrew Cuneo here. It's summertime in South Georgia, and the only thing hotter than being outside is the hot deals at Mike Birch Ford. With up to $12,000 off new F-150s, there's no better time than now to purchase the truck of your dreams. So stop the search and call Mike Birch Ford today. Andrew Cuneo here. It's summertime in South Georgia, and the only thing hotter than being outside is the hot deals at Mike Birch Ford. With up to $12,000 off new F-150s, there's no better time than now to purchase the truck of your dreams. So stop the search and call Mike Birch Ford today.
Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. It's now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, by Jesup Premium Storage, located out here on the Waycross Highway, and also brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply on Northeast Broad Street. Well, Bob, is the smoke cleared out over the county commissioner's office on Walnut Street by this morning, or is it still simmering out there?
I know I've been here most of the night putting that story together. So I don't know.
I didn't know if there was still smoke above the sky above up there at the county commissioner's office last night because of all them fireworks or not. But that's not what we're here to talk about here this morning. We've got guests in here this morning. Bob?
We've got Heather Altman and Candy Harris talk about something with the IDA. Is that right?
Okay, we got Heather Altman from the Tourism Board, and we got Candy from IDA. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. I think, Heather, that you said that Candy has taken the lead on this, and the Tourism Board is supporting what the IDA is doing. Is that right?
That's correct. Candy contacted the Wayne County Board of Tourism about a month ago about an idea that the IDA had come up with to boost economic development in Wayne County through the Explore Georgia website, which is a part of industry, trade, and tourism that tourism uses to promote the camera-ready community and the filming industry in Wayne County, along with just a visitor's website. So we host that and post photos and interest in Wayne County on that for people to use throughout the state. And Candy and her IDA board come up with a great idea and contacted us, and we jumped on board with them. So we're going to let Candy tell us a little bit about that and give you some details on it, and we're just happy to be a part of it.
Good morning, Candy.
Good morning.
All right, what's the IDA doing?
Well, we are going to sponsor, along with tourism, as Heather said, a photo contest. And what we are doing is we are asking folks, and you don't have to be a Wayne County resident to do this, but we're going to have a photo contest. We want the public, anybody, local photographers, just people who love to take pictures, to go out and find unique sites in Wayne County. Doesn't have to be beautiful, doesn't have to be perfect, maybe an old barn that's about to fall down, maybe the front of a home. I mean, it could be anything, but we want things that are unique to Wayne County that will catch the eye of filmmakers when they look on the state's website for places to film in Georgia. Georgia's become an extremely popular state to film in due to the tax credits that filmmakers get.
I think it's the top three where films are done.
In fact, a relative of mine said that his son-in-law is working more in Atlanta, Georgia on filming than he does out in L.A. So he's here just about all the time. So we put this contest together, and we have partnered to come up with prize money. The photo contest will run between September 1st and November 15th of this year, and the top prize is going to be $1,500.
Oh, wow.
And we hope that this will generate a lot of interest from our community to go out and do their very best to get good photos of unique sites here. There are parameters or requirements for the photographs, and those will be published in the forms that will be sent to people who want to who want to participate. And then after November 15th, we'll gather all the photos. They'll be sent to 3 independent judges who are familiar with or part of the film industry here in Georgia. One is Craig Dominy, and he's the manager of Georgia Economic Development's film office. And he is going to be a judge, and he has found 2 other judges for us that live down in this area and are familiar with what the film industry is looking for. So this is what we want you to do. We want you to either email or call me and ask for a packet, and then once you get the packet, look at the requirements to make sure the photos you take are meet those requirements, so they will be able to be submitted.
Do you know any idea what the qualifications or requirements are in this packet?
I do.
Okay, let's say, is it what are requirements for these pictures here that'll be taken in this photo contest that'll be done here in Wayne County?
They have to be 150 DPI or higher. The file size has to be between 1 megabyte and 3 megabytes. The JPG compression has to equal at least 12, which is good quality. The resolution has to be 1,680 by 1,054 or higher for large size web browsing, so that the film industry can get a good, see them well. And we also want a physical photo, a printed photo, supplied, and it has to be an 8.5 by 11 print.
I have no idea some of that stuff you're just talking about.
I don't either. I took it straight off the website.
You have to research that.
Well, I think that most of our,
professional photographers will know that, but what you're trying to do, of course, is also get the public involved.
We are getting the public involved, but I think if they're interested in participating in this contest, they can figure out what they need to do. So,
just do the research. You can find out.
Yeah, you can find out, and we just want these photos to be worthy of the film industry looking at, and the grand prize of $1,500 is a pretty good incentive to go out and do a little bit of research and make sure you're doing what you need to do. So once all of the photos are turned in and they're judged, we are going to have a reception, a wine and cheese reception, and we're going to display all of the qualified photos that met those requirements, and we'll announce the winner that night. And we'll also have second, third, and fourth place, and we're going to try to spread our money out between as many participants as we can, but we haven't determined all of those amounts yet, so it kind of depends on how many photos are submitted.
Well, the goal by the IDA on this with the tourism board is to have these pictures taken and then judged, and the overall goal is once the filmmakers see some of these pictures, that perhaps maybe they'll come down here and use scenes in Wayne County for upcoming movies.
That is correct.
To bring economic development to Wayne County.
That is absolutely correct, and that's why the IDA is involved, and tourism is Heather's our liaison for the Camera Ready program, and so we just wanted to partner with each other and get the most out of it that we can.
It says here that, see if I can find where it was. It says, so here's what we want you to do. Find and photograph unique sites in Wayne County. We'll have filmmakers doing a double take. If it doesn't necessarily have to be a perfect or beautiful site, but rather local, not found anywhere else.
That's right. Correct.
Okay.
And what that means, I'll go into a little bit of detail here. At one time,
Heather Altman from the tourism board.
At one time, I know everybody. At one time, everybody's crazy about this Walking Dead thing, the filming,
Right.
Walking Dead. We had them come to Wayne County and look at the old Wayne State Prison that we have for an interest there. It's sites like that we're looking for, along with the beauty of Wayne County. We have a lot to offer here. These photos that are submitted will be, the photographer has to give us rights to the photos so that we can turn around and use them to post them on the Explore Georgia website, to use them in our Discover Wayne County brochures, our maps, things that we as a community can use through chamber, tourism, economic development to promote our community. So, when you're out taking pictures, don't just think about something that's fruity. Also think about something that is unique, that is different, something we have that nobody else has, things like that. So, I mean, they can be anywhere from buildings, like Candy said, buildings to our downtown, to shops, to swamps, to anything.
A field of sunflowers,
cornfields, pecan orchards, anything that you think that might bring us something. Or be attractive to someone else.
And from text messages come in, yes, we will talk about last night's meeting in just a few minutes, but we've got this already scheduled this morning, okay? All right. So the Wayne County Board of Tourism, the Industrial Development Authority are partnering to attract film industry to our community. If once again, Candy, if people are out there saying, what do I need to do to find out more information about this photo contest and to participate in it, what do they do, Candy?
They can call me at the IDA at 415-8080, or they can email me at charris@connectingwayne.com. That's CONNECTINWAYNE.com.
Okay, 912-415-8080 to get a hold of Candy. And if you can't remember all that, just call the Board of Tourism and Heather, and then we'll direct you to Candy.
Yes, correct.
Absolutely.
And that's 912-427-3233. Or you can swing by and we'll have some packets at our office that you can pick up also. And I think Candy is in.
You do have the packets there at Wayne Tourism down there at the old train depot.
And Candy's office is connected to the Chamber office, so I'm sure Chamber and IDA and myself, we can pick up packets at either one of those offices. Okay.
And the person who wins what again?
$1,500.
$1,000. And is there a second and third or anything?
There he is.
Okay. With a little bit of money there too. But the best thing about this is not only the money, but the pride of the fact that your photo is going to be chosen as the top one by these film industry experts.
That's correct.
Okay. That is great. Good idea. Absolutely a great idea. Try to bring some film industry money here to Wayne County.
That's correct.
All right, Bob, questions or comments for our ladies this morning?
I'm like you, I don't have any idea what she was talking about as far as megabytes and all that.
The resolution and, it'll be...
Copy and paste.
Jonathan said the internet's your friend, I guess.
Or just go to a professional photographer here in town, and they can explain the whole thing to you.
One more thing I'd like to note, because this is very, very important. Whether you are the owner of the site that you photograph or not, we have to get a photo release form from you, and it's imperative that if you are photographing a site that does belong to someone else, you do have to get permission from them, written permission that's given to us before that photograph is turned in, and they have to sign off on that. And they also, if it's your site, or if it's someone else's, they have to be willing to at least negotiate with the film industry about using that site if ever contacted.
Right. Okay. All the rules and regulations will be in the packet that you can pick up at the Wayne County Board of Tourism, Industrial Authority, Chamber of Commerce. At the end of this photo contest, it will be from September 1st through November 15th.
Correct.
So people have got 2.5 months to go out there and take them pictures. Okay?
That's right.
Then after November 15th, then what happens?
We will submit all of the photos to the judges, the ones that are qualified, and then we will have a wine and cheese reception to announce the winners once the judges have picked the photographs.
Okay. Somebody just, folks, if you have questions, comments on anything here during the Butch and Bob Show or at any other time, you can text them into our regular business line at 912-427-3711. Somebody just texted in, incredibly smart idea. Yay! All right, it is a smart idea. And we look forward to having y'all back on again sometime in the middle of all this to give us an update of what's going on with this photo contest, co-sponsored by the IDA and the Wayne County Board of Tourism. All right, anything else?
Thank you so much.
All right, y'all have a great day.
You have a blessed day.
All right, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. And let's see here. The lady's going to move on out here. I won't worry about playing anything right now, so Bob and I can get started into it. You're listening to the world-famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. Well, Bob, you've been to a lot of meetings through the last 30-something years. Have you seen anything quite like last night at the Wayne County Board of Commissioners meeting?
not that kind of crowd. You know, I've been to other meetings that have gotten out of hand, but I haven't been to one where they had that many people, you know, on hand for the craziness, I guess I can call it. I mean, Robert's Rules of Order simply thrown out the window and people speaking out of turn. And it got crazy last night. But, I mean, it was a bombshell. I mean, when Kel Harris was in the back of the room and, you know, Ralph was reading that letter that they got from the auditors.
Who's Kyle? Say that again.
Kel Harris.
Kel Harris with Harris and Harris.
It's Chris Harris and Kel Harris. They're the CPAs. You know, everybody knows the Harris brothers. They've been here quite some time. They took over Brian Drury and Griffiths' CPA firm, and they've been doing audits for years, but both were on hand. And again, Ralph started talking about this letter that they got from the auditors saying that they had to give a recommendation of a $5 million increase, but the letter did say with budget cuts, as you heard Ralph on the news. Again, if you hadn't heard the news this morning, you can hear it again at 12:20 and at 5:10. But when they talked about the auditor being threatened, and then Chris Harris was there saying, you'd have to talk to my brother, and then they said, well, his brother's in the back of the room. And they looked right back there and asked Kel Harris point blank, were you threatened? He said, his answer was, you know, it's hard to hear on the tape because you're in the back of the room, but he said, yes, I was actually threatened.
Now, he said Kel Harris was threatened in what kind of way?
He was threatened by the administrator. The administrator was demanding a letter saying that they had to go $5 million.
And if he didn't come up with that letter,
come up with that recommendation, then they would basically look for another firm to come up with that. You know, so that was just a bombshell. You know, I don't know if people are talking about if that's legal or, I mean, it was, I don't know what it was, but it was a sad to hear that that's where they went. I mean, that they were so gung-ho on getting a $5 million increase, they basically threatened the CPA that we want a letter saying we wanted a $5 million increase, and I will find somebody else to give it to.
Did you see that letter? Is that what it said?
Ralph's got the copy of the letter. I have not seen the copy of the letter.
Okay, of course, you know, Harris was saying the fact that
Ralph read the letter on the news.
He read it.
You can read.
Yeah.
He read the letter.
Okay.
And so the letter states that there's a $5 million recommendation, but with budget cuts. Mm-hmm. And if they cut the budget more, the mill increase may not have to be $5 million. So that's what I've been arguing from day one. Why is it $5 million? So now you had the auditor saying basically it doesn't have to be $5 million. But they definitely wanted $5 million, and they basically threatened and said we want $5 million. So that's just, I've never seen that before. That was just a bombshell last night. I mean, when he said what he said last night, and people in the room heard Kel Harris say he was threatened. I mean, and I went outside. That's when he said he was threatened. I didn't know who said he was. You know, I wanted to clarify who he was threatened by. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I walked outside, and Ed Jeffers was with the two Harris brothers over towards one of the buildings, and I wasn't going to get involved in that conversation. I was going to let them have their private conversation. But when that conversation was over, I went over and yelled for Kel to come talk to me. And I asked him for a clarification. I said, look, who threatened you? Where did this threat take place? And he told me that it came to his office, and he was threatened. Okay. When I pressed him further, he said, I better not make any more comment, which I understood. So I left and came here and put all that together and tried to make heads or tails out of everything. That, as I said, didn't get to report any of the public hearing. We'll try to have some of that tomorrow because people did get to speak at the last public hearing. So. But the main thing is people want to know, you know, they talking about transparency. They talk about the $4 million in back taxes. They talk about the TIA money, 4.7 that was they admit was misappropriated. I think the comment by James Booth Thomas was the former administrator robbed Peter to pay Paul. So they basically admitted that money was spent. Basically, they don't want to say illegally, but that's the word from the state. Yeah, the state says you got to pay it back. Yeah, you didn't use that money for what it was earmarked for. Right. So it has to use it. You got to pay it back. It has to be paid back. So it's just a mess right now. Well, it's hard to pay it back when you're this far in debt. Right. You know, I mean, by law, it has to be paid back. You may use the funds, but you got to pay it back within the end of the year. And apparently, they were saying that 2020 is the year they're going to get out of debt. And Ralph Hickok says that the way that's planned and the little bit that they're going to pay back year in, year out for the TIF fund, there's no way they're going to do it in 2020. So. Okay, here's a comment right now from Wayne County Commissioner Ralph Hickox that was just texted in. Remember now, this is the words of Commissioner Ralph Hickox. Harris and Company is the county's auditor, not just a CPA. That's a little different. He
whoever he's saying he is, threatened our auditor. So that's what the Wayne County Commissioner Ralph Hickox is saying, that not only they're CPA, but it's also the county's auditor, and you're threatening the auditor of the county.
I thought that was clear. I mean, they're the auditors. They do the audits.
Well, you do. A CPA does your book, an auditor comes in to make sure the money's being spent right. That's, they have two different functions there. And so that's what basically Commissioner Ralph Hickox is saying here. The Harrison Company is the county's auditor, not just a CPA. That's a little different. And so you're threatening, I think what Ralph is saying here is you're threatening the person that makes sure you stay in line. I assume, Ralph, that's what you mean, okay? That's what I get from it.
Well, like I said, we had him here yesterday, and I tried to pin him down, and he mentioned it again at the meeting. The problem line, after Ralph Hickox on the previous Monday came up with this 180 mandate, the accusation and what the story from Ralph Hickox is that the administrator went to Mike Roberts for several hours. He went to James Booth Thomas for several hours. He went with Shag Wright for several hours, lobbying that we have to have 5 mills, and basically saying that the Ralph Hickox plan isn't worth the paper it's written on. And that's what Ralph wanted to talk about yesterday, but he talked about at the meeting when all this broke. Right. He basically stated that the administrator lobbied the commissioners, went behind his back, talked about his plan. He wanted to know why he didn't come face him face to face and talk about his plan. And they keep saying other people have a plan, but the only plan we've seen is the 180 mandate from Ralph Hickox. Haven't seen anybody else's plan. Haven't seen a plan. The thing that really, they never went to this, but in the public hearing, a man made a great point. He said, look, Commissioner Harris, you've only been here for a while. Hickox, you've only been here for a while. Roberts, you just get on board. But Shag Wright and Booth Thomas, like I said, this problem didn't happen overnight.
It's been a long time.
Right. So you were here for a long time, Shag Wright. You were here for a long time, James Thomas. Let's hear from those two individuals. And they said, oh, we'll get to that, but they never got to that. That's who I wanted to hear from. I wanted to hear from those two, why we're at, how did we get here. They have a better idea why we're where we're at. But
the other three have not been commissioners all that long. It takes a year or so just to get your feet wet to understand what's going on. And so it's interesting to hear all 5 commissioners. They do all agree on one thing, that the retreat with the figures they got from County Commissioner Ed Jeffers was eye-opening. The most information they have ever received from a county administrator, to be able to open up the books and say, this is where we are. And guys, this is what basically, kind of paraphrasing here, guys, our commissioners, Ed's saying, we're in big trouble. We can't even hardly make payroll. We're having to borrow money. We're in debt. We've got to do something to keep this county financially, grounded. And so they do all agree on that. They just have different opinions on how to get from the hole that we're in to back seeing the light in the tunnel.
All right. And the point needs to be made. I'm going to make it here because I'm a person who rents. Okay? I'm tired of hearing, if you have a $100,000 home, it's only $175. Well, just hush about that, because those people, it's not going to affect them. The people it's going to affect are the people that rent. Their rent's going to get jacked up. There's people on fixed incomes. Red Boy can make a good point. Those are the people that are going to get hurt.
Well, there's elderly people out there.
Go watch that summer feed program and see all these kids come for meals. There's a lot of people that can't afford a 5 mil increase. Okay, right. If you own a $100,000 home, I understand it's just a drop in the bucket, $175. That's not going to affect you. But there's a lot of people going to be affected that don't live in a $100,000 home.
Right. Well, there's a lot of elderly people out there who've been living in their same home for a long time. It's been paid for. They don't have a house payment, but they're on Social Security and fixed income. So, they have to cut off the lights. They have to watch this. They have to watch that. The home's paid for. They own it. Okay? But they're on a very limited income. And so if you're going to raise their property, and it could be a decent-sized property or home, and you raise it on up, then it's going to be a hardship on a lot of these folks with fixed incomes, not only renters, but elderly folks who have these properties that they have a long
Stop
time.
yelling about the people that have $100,000 home is going to be $175 because those people aren't going to be affected. But there's going to be a lot of people in Wayne County affected by this $5 million increase that, like you said, some people just simply aren't going to be able to afford it.
And it'll be interesting to see. You've got, you know, what was talked about the other day was the fact that only 3% of the taxes are past due, which is good. I mean, if you, banks would love to have only 3% of their loans not, but 3%.
But still $4 million.
But it's still $4 million. I know, but it's still just.
Roberts had a pack of papers right there, and he said that first thing he's doing, he's going to Denise Griffith's office and see if there's some way they can make a dent in that $4 million.
And I agree with that, but it's going to be interesting to see when this $5 million increase goes out and everybody gets their tax bills and they're due by November 15th, what is the percentage going to be next year and the number of people who haven't paid because they couldn't afford to pay that $5 million increase? Will it be better? Will it be less? We don't know, but that will be interesting to see.
And then still we have the vote in November for the East Loss, and, you know, everybody keeps saying, yeah, it's a current tax, but guess what? Do the math. It's going to raise 5 mils, and you knock off 1, it goes to 4. So.
No, it doesn't knock to 4. Sales tax is not a mill. And it's the Board of Education, it is not the county. And sales tax is the most fair tax because it's based on consumption, with 30% of it coming in from outside of the county. Millage rate is based on property, real property, land, things of that sort. Sales tax is based on what is purchased, so it doesn't have anything to do with the millage rate. I know none of those 5 guys up there wanted to raise the millage rate. They've all said that, okay? We don't want to have to raise the millage rate. But 3 of the 5 said, we've got to do it if we're going to keep paying our bills. And the other 2 says, we understand it's got to go up, but let's have a plan of action of reducing costs and capping our budget. Like Ralph was saying, he wants to cap it at $20 million. Just different opinions. You got 5 different guys. You got different opinions, and 3 of the 5 said we've got to raise 5. We're going to have to raise it up to 5 mil. Raise 5 mils. The other 2 saying no. Let's do less and let's have a plan of action. So I don't know. It's a mess.
But in order to get the 5 mils, they had to on their write a letter saying that we have to have 5 mils, and basically threatened if he doesn't, they're going to get into their CPA firm. That's the story to me. That's the bombshell. That's just unheard of. I don't know if I know it's not right. I mean, that's sad. That's what that is. That's sad.
Yeah, you threaten your auditor, and it'll be interesting to see how that's clarified over a period of time, because, Herschel was saying, well, maybe we need, I don't know if it was Herschel, I can't remember from all the interviews you had there, but saying, well, we might need to find somebody who can show up to the meeting. That's, but that's not what the letter said, though, is it? Is that what the letter said?
No, they were both at the meeting. Both Harris brothers were at the meeting.
All right, someone just texted in, Michael Swint is the man who asked last night to hear from Shag and Boot. He is a former member of the Solid Waste Authority. So that was one of the guys asking about that.
But they never addressed, they never got to that. The public hearing was supposed to go from 6:30 to 7. I think it went from 6:30 to 7:20, if I was looking at my watch correctly. And at 7:20, they began the vote for the 5 mil increase. And like I said, Herschel made the motion. It was quickly seconded by James Thomas. And then it took almost 12 to 13 minutes before the actual final vote took
That was one of the most interesting vote calls I think I've ever heard in my life.
If you ever been in an organization and you talk about Robert's Rules of Orders, well, just forget all that. That was just thrown out the window. There was no Herschel tried, but I mean,
he tried to keep it in order. He tried his best to keep it in order. I can hear that.
35 years of covering meetings, I don't ever believe seen a vote take 12 minutes to get to the vote.
Yeah, everybody wanted to get their opinion in the last minute, and that's just not, Robert Rules of Order. But Herschel was doing his best to try to keep it in order, but he was having a hard time, but he did his best, and the vote did get in. And it was interesting to hear that Boot says, a vote to adjourn. They wanted to get out of there after that vote.
And Ralph wanted to make a motion. Like I said, we did talk to him. The motion he wanted to make was to cap it at $20 million, but he never got to make that motion last night.
He's starting from what I heard on your audio there. He tried to make the motion, but he didn't say what it was. I'd like to make a motion. Then suddenly, the Boot comes in and says, I'd like to make a motion for us to adjourn, and that's what they addressed. They didn't address Ralph's motion. They arrested. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it. They would not let Ralph make the motion.
Oh, they wouldn't. Okay.
Which he was upset about, because in most commission meetings, when a commissioner makes a motion, they ask for a second.
It's just not the commissioner. That commissioner represents 1/5 of the county. So when you don't let someone speak, or you don't go to them about advice on something, or you don't inform them about something, that's, that person represents those several thousand people in Wayne County. And so, the folks in District 5, I guess, maybe feel like, we didn't get our fair shot. I don't know if that's the way they feel or not. But I just know that commissioner, no matter which one it is, where they're representing, if they're not heard, or if they're not respected enough to be informed about stuff, then you're affecting 1/5 of the county of the population of Wayne County.
Well, kudos to the sheriff's department for having law enforcement on hand. I think they had 5 or 6 officers on hand. Unfortunately,
they were
all were needed. Especially at the end of the meeting, when it just got totally out of hand, when the shot match began between Commissioner Wright and one of the ladies in the audience. It just got very ugly.
Well, when you get that many people in a room and you got this emotional of a topic, which has to do with people's money, we always talk about that. It's always about the money, honey. And so you have emotions going. You got people saying things. You got back and forth between each other and the commissioners and so forth. Emotions can run high. Now, what's going to be interesting, and it looks like it was last night, a circus. But it's going to be interesting seeing now that it's been passed, it's been done, the dust will settle, and what will happen beginning today forward. It sounds like the tax bill is going to, the tax information is going to be sent up to from what Denise was saying the other day. Now this $5 million increase, they can send it on up to the state, get approval on that, so she can get the tax bills out as quick as possible. That will be due by November 15th. So what do you see happening now, Bob, between now and the next several weeks? Do you have any idea, after all this dust settles from that fireworks last night at the county commissioners meeting?
All I know for a fact is that the mill increase was passed 3-2. The school boards was passed at 18 mills. The county had to sign off on that. I think Denise Griffith is going to take the information to get the tax bills out as quickly as possible, but anything after that, I wouldn't even begin to try to guess. What was funny, though, is I sat before the meeting began next to Drew Davis, and I said, Drew, remember just about 2 weeks ago, these commissioners were talking about how they all worked together and they were the most harmonious group together and everybody was getting along. I said, watch all that blow up tonight. And it blew up because Ralph Hickox is pretty much on a warpath right now, which I can understand. I mean, he basically feels like they went behind his back. I mean, he came up with a plan.
He wasn't, and like I said, you have to talk to all 5.
Right.
That's my thoughts. That's my thoughts.
But they didn't do it.
He represents 1/5
and I tried to get him to talk about it yesterday morning.
Right.
Because I knew that's what took place. But he would not do it. But he waited till he got to the meeting, and when it all started getting heated, that's when you can hear him say, the administrator lobbied other commissioners. He went, behind my back. He didn't come to me man to man with my plan and say, look, what's good about my plan, what's not. I don't understand. That's what bothers me, because Mike Roberts is on record saying that some of the things in Ralph Hickox's plan is good and he wants to implement them, but I haven't seen anything implemented up to this point. So,
well, it just looked like they wanted to get the tax $5 million voted on, and hopefully now they'll come us up. And we just, as citizens of Wayne County, the commissioners, the majority of the commissioners voted for a $5 million increase last night. Now the tax bills will be sent up. The tax information will be sent to Atlanta. The approval will come back down from them. The tax bills will go back out, and everybody that owns property of any type in Wayne County will have to pay an extra $5 million, and by November 15th. What's going to happen now? What's the plan of action going to be? What is the plan of action going to be?
They have a plan. They say they have a plan, but none was unveiled Monday night. So.
Well, last night. I mean, in the interview last night, but in the comments that the commissioners were making during the meeting that you aired this morning is this commissioner has a plan. This commissioner has a plan. The county administrator has a plan. You got like 6 different plans there. And so, which plan do we come up with? Do we combine them? Do we, who makes the decision?
Well, you have Ralph Hickox saying there is no plan. Mm-hmm. He stated that emphatically last night. There is no plan. there is no plan to cut. There is no plan. Those were his words, not my words. So that's the question. What is Ed Jeffers' plan? What is Herschel Harris' plan? What is the overall plan to, as they said from day one, the $5 million increase isn't going to get us out of the hole. The $5 million increase is just the beginning of trying to correct the financial problems. But I said it yesterday, I said it 2 weeks ago, I'll say it again, is we didn't get here because of one reason only, bad management. And James Thomas pretty much insinuated last night when he said the former administrator robbed Peter to pay Paul. Well, that pretty much tells you they didn't do what was right. They didn't do what was right with the TIA money. That's $4.7 million they got to pay back. So
got to be paid back by law. If they don't do it, they're a breach.
There's commissioners on there that are supposed to hold the administrators to the fire and make sure they do what's right. But apparently somebody wasn't watching the hen house.
Well, I know that you've said all along that there's been bad management over the two administrators, two previous administrators that the Wayne County had. Ed's doing his best job. He went in there. He's been crunching the numbers, and he just laid it all out in front of the commissioners at the retreat. And it's a lot worse than they knew. And so his recommendation is we've got to have $5 million because I've got to be able to pay the bills.
Well,
and so 3 of the commissioners said, okay, we'll give it to you.
And what's interesting about that is he and the Scriven mayor have had battles back and forth because the Scriven mayor says what I did when I went in there and made sure the GBI came in and solved the problem.
Right.
And it led to arrests and convictions. So that was the insinuation. Maybe that's what Ed should have done. Come in and find out all this money missing, all that. Why wasn't the GBI called in, let them do the investigation and find out who's at fault? And maybe that led to convictions. But we didn't go that route.
No. Someone just texted in, and this is true. The business owners here in Wayne County are the ones that are going to pay. Most buildings in Wayne County are not valued at just $100,000.
Right.
The taxes, the business owners, the buildings, the land, and all that, theirs are valued a lot more. So it's going to be a big burden for the business owners here in Wayne County that own property. Like it will a lot of other folks.
$5 million increase is going to affect a lot of people. I mean, that's going to be. I said, we've never seen this before. I mean, we've never seen that big of an increase in one time. $5 million increases, like I said, that was a wow. And I said, for months and months and months, we heard about a $3 million increase. And that's what most people were talking about. Even Mike Roberts said last night that was his recommendation from the get-go. But when they came back from the retreat, word leaked out that it was going to be a $5 million increase, and that's what we've been hearing. And that's what was voted on last night by a 3-2 vote, a $5 million increase. The school stayed the same at 18 mills. Denise has the figures so she can send out the bills. First they got to get approved from Atlanta. And once they get approved from Atlanta, then the bills will be sent out. And as soon as she gives us the due date on those bills, we'll pass that information along. But how they go from here, what the next meeting is like, does Ralph make his motion? Do they vote for that? I wouldn't venture to guess where we go from here.
Well, if you hear a lot of moaning and groaning and gnashing of teeth and a lot of yells and oh no, and perhaps maybe people going to the doctor because of anxiety and stress, that's maybe what's going to happen once we receive our tax bills. I'm just being sarcastic, okay? Once they go, look at my things! I've talked to all 5 commissioners. They didn't want to have to raise the millage rate. It affects them too. They know the bad publicity. They know people don't want it. But 3 of the 5 said that we had to do it if we're going to pay our bills. And if what's been done has been done, no one likes it. No one wanted it to happen, but it did. And so now we have to live with it, I guess, and figure out a way to reduce expenses. So, as Herschel said the other morning, perhaps maybe in the next 2 or 3 years that millage rate can go back down. And not only the millage rate, but it's like Ralph said yesterday, he wants to be able to cap the budget at $20 million because if you cap it, then everybody's got to live within that budget instead of having just an open budget. I don't know I'm not in there every day. I'm not privy to the information that Ed Jeffers has and the 5 commissioners. I can't make opinion on that. All I hope right now is the fact that a plan of action does get in place to reduce expenses things get in line, and hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years that millage rate can go back down, because that's going to be a big burden on a lot of folks. And we just now wish the commissioners can put all this aside last night as much as they possibly can. I know there's a lot of hurt feelings out there. There's a lot of folks that didn't feel like there's some folks that didn't feel like they were listened to. But now we got to move forward, Bob. So that's the reason why I ask you, what do you think is next? This has been done. The fireworks, the dust has settled. Do you think anything from last night's meeting that was said or revealed may affect any of this in any type of way?
Like I said, the only thing I know for certain is that they're going to get the digest approved from Atlanta and send out the tax bills. That's the only thing I knew. And I said, I haven't seen a plan. I've heard all of them say they have a plan,
but not a specific plan.
I haven't seen anything written down on paper. I haven't seen anybody state what the plan is. I said, Ralph gave us this 180 mandate plan, and we got that in writing. But,
yeah.
But apparently they're not going that route. So, I don't know where they're going from here on out. I just, we would love to have, if Mr. Jeffords has a plan, we'd love to have him come, Herschel, whoever.
Yeah.
Appreciate them coming last week, but, people asked me yesterday what was going to happen. I said it's probably going to be the same 3-2 vote. But I didn't know all the fireworks and all the craziness